Hello, this is Lisa, CEO of Sight for Work, welcoming you to the last Talking News of 2023. I say talking news, but it's not news this week. We have 4 different things for you. First of all, we have Gilly Wheeler. She has written monologues and recorded them for us here at our recording studio in Newport. Secondly, we have Matt and Cast restaurant reviews. Thirdly, poems by Jan Beaumont. Jan is a New Zealand poet who wrote some poems for us that came to light in lockdown, but she's written a few more since and has kindly recorded them for us. And finally, an audio version of our October newsletter. Hoping everybody had a marvellous Christmas and is looking forward to the new year. Thank you, Lisa.
Now, my first monologue is entitled Culinary Capers, and I'll just give you a little idea of how it was that I came to write this monologue. When I was first married, my disasters in the kitchen were legion, and my poor husband, Frank, dreaded supper on Fridays, which regularly consisted of tuna fish pie. Ugh. As I explained, the contents of the housekeeping purse did not run to smoked salmon and caviar by the end of the week. Well, I have improved somewhat, and these days I can turn out a reasonably palatable meal, but I'm still haunted by the cries of despair which emanated from the kitchen when yet another gastronomical delicacy was a complete failure and bore no resemblance to the picture in the recipe book. The celebrity chefs of today have nothing to fear in the way of competition for me. As I tell everybody, you just have to look to know a good cook, but with me in the kitchen it's fraught. Oh, my friends despair of my cordon bleu flair, and gourmets turn pale at the thought. Oh, I've read all the books by qualified cooks, but no matter how much time I spend, my dumplings explode, my hole has no toad, and the chicken gets stuffed the wrong end. I try to make sense when cooking in French and translate as best as I can, but ma soul Veronique made me ill for a week, and the cock ended up with no vin. I once cooked a feast with food from the East, but my ribs were incredibly spare. The egg foo young went dreadfully wrong, and my prawn bowls dissolved in thin air. Oh, they've soon had enough of me lemon cream puff, for you see my desserts people mock. My soufflés won't rise, and my chef's surprise comes out as a positive shock. So cooking and I have waved goodbye. Gastronomically, I can survive. I think I shall go to a place that I know called Takeaway, and it opens at 5. Hello again. This is Gilly Wheeler, and my monologue this week is entitled The Club Review. An important event on the calendar of most clubs and organisations is the annual show, which involves members giving their talents to entertain. And each year, invariably, it's the same enthusiastic thespians who put their names forward to appear on stage. Now, I'd like you to imagine you're attending a meeting of the social committee who have gathered to discuss a programme for the forthcoming production. But before any decision can be made, the chairman assesses the standard of performances in last year's show. He stands up and says, "Well, what shall we do for the club review? Last year was a total disaster. The dancers were fine, but they got out of time as the music got faster and faster. There was musical June, who sang out of tune, and wore a ridiculous hat. She kept going wrong. Oh, she murdered that song in a voice which was constantly flat. And what about Claude? Throwing knives at a board. In front of it stood his wife Rose. "Blindfold me," he cried. But he threw the knife wide and the blade disappeared up her nose. A precocious child, Nell, did a tap dance quite well till she started to wave at some chums. She got in a rage when she fell off the stage and landed head first in the drums. Then there was Ted, balanced plates on his head while twirling some hoops round his thighs. When he juggled his balls, they bounced off the walls, and that really brought tears to his eyes. Old Bert on the spoons played to wild Spanish tunes, rhythmically trying to please. He got carried away on his second Olé, fracturing both of his knees. And I'll not forget Fred, who solemnly said, "This ferret will now disappear." It got Fred by the throat when stuffed up his coat and bit off the lobe of his ear. Well, we've got something new for the club review, but we must have more time to rehearse. Last year was unreal, but this year, I feel, could be a damn sight worse.
Matt and Kat's Isle of Wight Eating Out Guide. Independent reviews of places to eat out on the Isle of Wight. Since 2005, the island's best-known food reviewers have scrutinised local dining, from street food and pub grub to the grandest hotel restaurants. They always have an opinion. Charter Lounge is the latest in a series of businesses that have launched in the ground floor of Charter House Newport, in what is, on the face of it, a candidate for the most desirable non-seaside restaurant location on the Isle of Wight. We visited during the venue's first week, lured by promises of one of the sexiest places to hang out and global street food with impeccable service. Our menu choices were from a series of boxes with Thai, Indian, Mexican and Asian fusion options. Proper loaded fries were, essentially, versions of the main dish choices, on fries. The menu said the food would be in a box. It was not in a box. Perhaps it would have been if we had ordered takeaway. Luckily we didn't, as it took over 40 minutes for the meals to arrive, but when they did, they looked good. Great, served on little wooden boards, just as good as boxes, and probably more sustainable. Garlic chilli pork in bao buns was accompanied by fries and hoisin sauce for dipping. The garlic chilli flavour was subtle, and the pork was served at room temperature, but nonetheless it was a satisfying dish. The thali box was a generous selection of Indian-style finger food, alongside more fries and a curious little pot of chopped tinned tomatoes. The thali was hot and tasty, and a well-considered selection of bits to nibble on. We shared a bowl of tandoori chicken shashlik proper loaded fries. This was probably the best thing in the meal, a hot, fresh pile of those fries topped with slices of tandoori chicken, moist fried onion and roasted red pepper, all slathered with mint yoghurt sauce. It was an unusual and enjoyable way to eat fries. Charter Lounge fed us well and delivered on the promise of global street food and good service. It's an attractive venue, easy to access in a very central location, and outstanding value for money. The food had some imaginative touches. If you want the ultimate in international fusion food, you know where to get it. A hint, it's smoking, but you'll pay about 3 times as much and struggle to get a table. Meanwhile, this new venture at Charter Lounge has made a good start. We would be happy to suggest that you give it a try. Matt and Kat's bill. Bao box, regular, $7.95. Thali box, large, $9.95. Tandoori chicken fries, $6.95. Total, $24.85. 2 stars, not that bad, worth a visit. Charter Lounge, 14 St Thomas's Square, Isle of Wight, PO301SL. Facebook, Charter Lounge IOW. Read the full review of this and other venues on our website, www.matandcat.co.uk. Could artificial intelligence be a weapon of mass peace? Written and read by Catherine James. On Remembrance Sunday, honouring a tradition started by his great-grandfather more than 100 years ago, King Charles III laid a wreath at the cenotaph to remember those who have served and sacrificed, lest we forget. In World War I, millions of people lost their lives. Are they truly honoured, these statistics of the war to end all wars, if there are still combat casualties over a century later? A few days before that solemn ceremony in London, Sir Donald McCullin was interviewed on BBC Radio 4. His name might not be familiar to you, but you may have seen his work. He is arguably Britain's greatest living photographer, his camera witness to global atrocities for over 6 decades. From hostilities in Biafra, Vietnam and Northern Ireland, plus documenting AIDS, London gangs and even the Beatles, his impactful photographs are understandably award-winning. This venerable and thoughtful artist potently proclaimed, "Everything I've done and contributed to showing how awful international conflict is has been a waste of time, really. I have been in so many wars, and nothing has changed. What I am seeing is horrendous and tragically sad." A few days before McCullin's broadcast despair, the government held an artificial intelligence summit. This international conference was held at Bletchley Park, appropriately enough, which was, of course, the base for Second World War codebreakers. Artificial intelligence has many applications, from medical diagnoses to creative arts and writing. In general, the digital brain ingests large amounts of data, which it analyses to find structure and regularities. It then uses these patterns to make predictions about future states. Technology Secretary Michelle Donnellan trumpeted that AI is already improving lives, from new innovations in healthcare to supporting efforts to tackle climate change. In the opposite corner was multi-billionaire investor and space junkie extraordinaire Elon Musk, who conjectured at the conference that AI is one of the biggest threats to humanity. It could be argued that, particularly having created what some see as the existential threat of artificial intelligence, that man is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, threat to humanity. But what if we can use AI to find the solution to humans' interminable need to destroy each other? Could the futility of war be solved with the utility of artificial intelligence? We could feed into the ersatz Einstein the inexhaustible amount of information about military strategy and the horrors of war, stir in treaties and pacts, statistics of deaths and casualties, the surfeit of words written about Hitler, the march of the Roman Empire, the squabbles of ancient Greece, maybe even Don McCullin's archive. And, if the self-thinking machines can't tell us that war is stupid using this weight of academic post-mortem, then maybe the lesson that we have learned from history is that we never learn from history. Jeremy Corbyn MP states, "All wars end with some kind of peace conference. Let's jump to that stage." The millions of war dead deserve a better legacy than perpetual conflict.
My monologue this week is entitled A Wizard with Wood. Now, I should explain that it is dedicated to a very creative gentleman who worked as a scientist, but when he retired, he took up woodwork, and his house is furnished with elegant yet practical pieces crafted and designed by this talented man. I wax lyrical about him because I have a great admiration for what he can achieve from a simple lump of wood. You will understand when I tell you. To watch him at work just gives me a thrill, as I have a passion for this man, Bill. In matters like these, we women are fools, and I'm no exception when he wields his tools. He's a wizard with wood, he chisels and sands. You should see what he does with his plane in his hands. Up to his armpits in shavings and dust. Oh, it's hard to control my feeling of lust. To handle his chisel, his hammer and claw. How I'd love to rotate on his circular saw. He whittles away with ultimate skill. I go weak at the knees when I look at his drill. His ratchets and rivets and oversized vice. To turn on his lathe would be naughty, but nice. His pincers, his pliers, his adjustable wrench make me long for the day when I'm clamped to his bench. With mortise and mitre and right-angle T, from any old angle he looks good to me. Will the day ever come when he says he'll be mine and makes me a gift of his best antique pine?
Matt and Kat's Isle of Wight Eating Out Guide. Independent reviews of places to eat out on the Isle of Wight. Since 2005, the island's best-known food reviewers have scrutinised local dining. From street food and pub grub to the grandest hotel restaurants. They always have an opinion. Egon's Cows. For over 30 years, Egon's has been the anchor English traditional cafe in Cowes. Having ascended the stairs, we slipped into the venue's prime spot, a window table with a sea view. This was literally a step up from the relocated cafe's previous home, which had no such visuals to distract us. Another improvement was the reduction in the plethora of laminated signs, a feature of the old Egon's. Instead of melamine tabletops, we enjoyed actual plastic tablecloths, and some seats even had cushions. Progress indeed. Reassuringly, the tea was delivered in familiar branded Egon's mugs, tea bag and cow's milk already in the cup, with sugar in an open bowl on the table. Sugar in a bowl, can you imagine? Parents should bring their children here to marvel at how we used to live. Look, kids, no single-serving sachets to fumble with, and no, don't lick the spoon. If you want avocado, shakshuka, or anything with seeds in it, you will be better off elsewhere. Our choice at Egon's was unashamedly full English classics all the way. Egon's breakfast bonanza is still there, and so that's what we had. The ominous warning on the menu yelled in red, "Please note any changes to the menu will be charged as extras due to rising cost." However, just as in 2013, this edict proved to be negotiable, and we were not, in fact, charged for not having beans. The breakfast was the epitome of a traditional fry-up. Eggs, bacon, sausage, tomatoes, mushrooms, fried bread and toast. The addition of hash browns and black pudding made the bonanza stand out, and overall this was a meal that was no less and no more than it promised. The food was fresh, hot and gratefully received. We're glad that Egon's has survived. This stalwart venue serves up food in the popular greasy spoon diner style, proudly claiming to be open 363 days per year. It's a great institution that is determinedly keeping English cafe traditions alive, with success judging by the number of customers who are willing to climb the Egon's staircase. This style of dining is, in fact, these days a novelty and worth experiencing in itself. The food is as good as you'd expect, and Egon's is a true cultural, more than culinary delight. We hope that the cafe lasts at least another 30 years. Our verdict: 3 stars, a decent place that we'd recommend. Matt and Kat's bill: breakfast bonanza, 2 at £13.50, tea, 2 at £2.25, total £31.50. Website: egonsofcows.weebly.com. Address: 85 High Street, Cowes, PO 31 7AJ. Phone number 01983 716 352. Read the full review of this and other venues on our website www.mattandcat.co.uk.
Cheers for chocolate. There are some things in life that you can't do without, those things that make everything great. When you're feeling quite down or you're sad or depressed, here's happiness right on a plate. I'm talking about chocolate, that food we all love. I don't care if it's milky or dark. Black Forest or mint or the old fruit and nut, on a chocolate affair let's embark. There's Snickers and Kit Kats and Crunchies and Twix. Of Reese's I've got a huge stash. There's chocolate chip cookies and then for a treat, a cake spread with creamy ganache. Who doesn't like chocolate? There's no one, I'm sure, doesn't crave that delicious ingestion. For the answer is chocolate every time, and you don't even ask, what's the question? I must say I feel quite a rush of delight as those cream eggs go in through my lips. I cannot say no, even though I'm aware of how long they will stay on my hips. There's some say that chocolate is better than sex, but I'm not sure if I'd go that far. It might just come close if you take off your clothes and spread it all on from a jar. And then when it's late and the day's at an end and the final good nights have been said, you can go in the kitchen and heat up some milk and take your hot chocolate to bed.
Matt and Cat's Isle of Wight Eating Out Guide. Independent reviews of places to eat out on the Isle of Wight. Since 2005, the island's best-known food reviewers have scrutinised local dining. From street food and pub grub to the grandest hotel restaurants, they always have an opinion. Aussie's Place, Newport. Before we go into details of our fish and chips from Aussie's Place, Newport, we must strike a note of caution. Unless you are in training for some kind of world record eatathon, you would be best to recruit a friend to share your fish and chip supper. Perhaps two, or possibly even more. Are the portions really that big? When we made inquiries at the counter, speculating if maybe a large portion of chips would be appropriate for the pair of us, the server said, after an appraising glance, "Small will be absolutely fine for you two." We took the recommendation and added 1 medium cod and 1 large haddock, plus mushy peas and curry sauce to our order. Back at home, we unfurled the parcels. Even compared to the size of the large haddock, the small portion of chips was absolutely ginormous. So much so, with only a fraction of the chips served up, our biggest plates could not contain all the food. The fish extended well beyond the crockery's circumference, sprawled like a lanky teenager with their legs thrown over the arm of a chair. For us, a soft bronzed chip is where it's at for a classic chippy chip. Happily, Aussies were yielding and attractively browned, which also gave them a desirable hint of sweetness. The texture and quality of their innards was nice and fluffy too, not dry or oily. A proper chip. The fish's golden batter was traditional and crispy, with a decent texture and flavour. Inside the fillet's insulating golden jackets, we discovered a well-cooked meaty interior of white flesh, which flaked agreeably, imparting succulence with every mouthful. Alongside the impressive portions, great value for money, and deliciousness of the fish suppers, a special commendation must also go to the curry sauce. Maybe not everyone's preferred chip lubricant. Debates about vinegar, ketchup and mayonnaise abound, but for us it was probably the best tasting chip shop curry sauce we've had. Maybe it's because it's the season for hunkering down with a hearty and hot fish supper. Perhaps it was the really pleasant, helpful and speedy service, especially considering that our fish was cooked freshly for us. But we enjoyed the process of buying our fish and chips as well as eating the results. Delicious and excellent value. Aussie's is the place to go. Matt and Cat's bill. Medium cod, £6.50. Large haddock, £8. Small chips, £2.30. Mushy peas, £1.20. Curry sauce, £1.20. Total, £19.20. 4 stars. Very good indeed. Well worth seeking out. Aussie's Place, 83 Royal Exchange, Newport, PO 302HW. Telephone number 01983 241 400. Facebook, Aussie's Place. Read the full review of this and other venues on our website www.mattandcat.co.uk.
Hello, yes, it's me again, Jilly, and I've got this special monologue for you today, and it's called A Gardener's Lament. Now, I've heard it said the answer lies in the soil. Unfortunately, this evaded me for years. Unlike my sister Marion, who has a gift of growing things which she inherited from our mother, who could take a simple twig, stick it in a pot, and hey, presto, a flourishing little plant would appear. I shall set the scene for this next monologue with this introduction. An English country garden, oh, what a lovely sight to see. But only if you have success and not if you're like me. So here's a little monologue, a weary tale of woe. It's dedicated to those folk whose gardens will not grow. Oh, I've had a lot of trouble with my tulips. My delphiniums decided not to bloom. The forget-me-nots forgot. Me compost was too hot, and I'm told my floribunda needs a prune. Then I found some fungus on me fuchsia. The clematis couldn't climb above the door. The sweet peas turned all sour. Flowering cherry couldn't flower. And Busy Lizzie wasn't busy anymore. I might at push raise a small bush from a cutting I've kept in a cup. But if I plant seeds, they're choked by the weeds and start growing down instead of up. I think I got a bug in my begonia. I watched the fruit go rotten by the ton. Creeping ivy couldn't creep, weeping willow wouldn't weep, and the cactus went and dried up in the sun. Something big and hairy ate my hyacinth. I saw the red-hot pokers melt away. The sunflowers turned all brown. I watched me water lilies drown, and the poppies propagated every day. I bought soil that was pure and bags of manure, so you see I was ever so keen. I've tried and I've tried, but I just cannot hide the fact that me fingers aren't green. I accidentally jumped on my japonica, and the peony got a spade right through its root. I knocked its leaves off with me toe, then cut its head off with me hoe, and finished it completely with me boot. When I found my polyanthus was a pansy. Well, that was it, and here's the end to my lament. I saw a builder friend I knew and told him just what he could do, cover the bloomin' lot up with cement.
Farewell, Elizabeth. Today there is something that's different. Today things just seem far from right. The sun is still shining, the sky is still blue, but something has changed overnight. When I turned off the light, things were normal. Then this morning I turned the news on. It just broke my heart when I heard that someone so special had gone. We all knew the time would be coming, that her days here would come to an end, but we all thought she'd go on forever. The sweet lady we felt was a friend. There'll not be another one like her, but it's time now for her to just rest, for she was an extraordinary woman, and one who was simply the best. Today the whole nation is mourning the loss of their wonderful queen. Don't grieve that she's no longer with us. Just be happy that she's ever been.
Matt and Kat's Isle of Wight Eating Out Guide. Independent reviews of places to eat out on the Isle of Wight. Since 2005, the island's best-known food reviewers have scrutinised local dining, from street food and pub grub to the grandest hotel restaurants. They always have an opinion. Thompson's, Newport. When it opened in 2015, Thompson's immediately became, and remains, one of a select handful of reliable and successful high-end dining experiences on the island. We started with the chef's signature Cuttlefish Ink crackers, accompanied by a magnificent creamy and tangy taramasalata. This was followed by an amuse-bouche of aubergine masala veloute, crowned with a black olive tapenade, with two tiny yet potent tandoori spiced lamb samosas. The salty crispness of the samosas combined well with the unctuous smoothness of the warming aromatic sauce. Starter of veloute of butternut squash, with cheese gougères floating in the velvety potion, was scattered with toasted pumpkin seeds, which gave a surprising and effective burst of smokiness and crunch. A big meaty portion of cod poached in noisette butter came with ashed-baked celeriac root and an extraordinary helping of devilled brown shrimps on a celeriac puree. Sautéed sprouts came as a charming spherical parcel of shredded greens, tightly encased in soft cabbage leaves, laced with subtle horseradish hints and nuggets of smoky ham. Devilled shrimps were the standout focus on the plate. Powerfully peppery, the little morsels of crustaceans gave a real focus to this meal. Ballotine of venison was crowned with a chicken mousse studded with chunks of roast chestnut. The deer was impressively moist and tender, not always the case with even the best venison. A luscious, sweet and sour bed of red cabbage was the perfect partner for the rich meat. A chestnut mousse and parsnip puree completed the ideal seasonal main course. Then another complimentary dish, lemon meringue pie pre-dessert. This classic citrus pudding in a dainty pot gave us just enough for a hint of nostalgia as we savoured the soft, creamy meringue and mild lemony sauce. For sweet, we shared a white chocolate and cherry delice. The poached cherries scattered alongside had a powerful brandy kick, and a scoop of bitter dark chocolate sorbet was an exquisite way to finish our dinner. Expensive. For one of the best meals we've enjoyed on the island, we thought it was excellent value at just over £9 per person per course. Thompson's is still right up there, making us gasp with joy at the food on our plates. Matt and Kat's bill. Cuttlefish Ink crackers, £9. Butternut veloute, £11. Fillet of cod, £29. Venison, £29. Chocolate delice, £13. Total, £91. 5 stars, exceptional, one of the very best places we have visited. Address: Thompson's, 11 Town Lane, Newport, Isle of Wight, P0301JU. Telephone number: 01983 526 118. Website: www.robertthompson.co.uk. Read the full review of this and other venues on our website, www.mattandcat.co.uk.
Clutter by Jan Beaumont. The years have gone by and I'm ready to move into somewhere a little less spacious. But before then, I fear, there's a lot I must clear, so my cleaning must be quite voracious. My home used to be quite a showplace, I guess. Of my pristine abode I was proud. It was hardly a chore, you could eat off my floor, but of course that was never allowed. Then slowly the space that was clear was no more, and the stuff stored about was a jumble. How the hell did that happen? Who put it all here? My composure was starting to crumble. The only place left I could sit was one chair. The others were covered in junk. I have no idea how the stuff all appeared. Could it be I'd be terribly drunk? There were boxes that never had been there before. God knows what on earth they contained. There were newspapers, shopping bags, clothing galore. How can all this mess be explained? I found 17 packets of cat food untouched. They were piled up just inside the door. I'm hoping I won't find the cat anywhere, 'cause it vanished in June of '04. Why on earth have I got all these plastic containers? I don't recall all that Chinese. There's noodles for Africa, outdated milk, and 2 big tubs of old cottage cheese. At least there are people to help me get back to the home that was comfy and clear. I'll call the decluttering people right now. Then I'll get me a good auctioneer. And people will come and they'll look through my house and they'll say, "This is lovely, let's buy it." Then I'll smile and I'll think, I'm so glad they don't know, but I'm keeping just sensibly quiet. Goodbye, my friend. It happened so fast he just couldn't believe that his new friend had suddenly left, and Paddington sadly then started to grieve, as he truly did feel quite bereft. He remembered the day just a few weeks before when he sat down to tea with the Queen, and they talked and they laughed and they ate marmalade, and oh, what a day it had been. His new friend Elizabeth didn't seem grand. She just chatted and joked with the bear. And after they'd finished, he held her soft hand, and he felt all her kindness and care. But now she had gone, and he felt very sad, as there hadn't been time to farewell his lovely new friend, and it made him feel bad, as he'd fallen right under her spell. He guessed that she must have had reason to go, but he knew he would never forget the wonderful lady he'd just come to know, and how happy he was that they'd met. He hoped she had joined all the people she'd loved, and wherever she happened to be, she was really enjoying the rest that she'd earned, and a marmalade sandwich for tea. Size matters. You may have heard size doesn't matter. It depends what you're talking about. I personally think that it matters a lot, though you may disagree, there's no doubt. Is quality far more important? Does quantity matter at all? If you're one of life's snackers and love your cream crackers, a decrease in size will appall. I've got a sweet tooth, I'll admit it. A biscuit I love with my tea. But the problem I see here is the shrinkage. Now I have to scoff not 1 but 3. I love my digestives and hobnobs. Chocolate thins make me flushed with delight. And a ginger nut dunk is the ultimate joy, brings the darkest of mornings a light. If the size doesn't shrink, it's the number that you now get in every pack. And once they think you haven't noticed, there's certainly no turning back. And it's not just our bickies and chocolates. Even toothpaste is quarter its size. I have to buy more just to keep my teeth clean, but no cheaper. Oh, what a surprise. I like to keep up with the laundry. I enjoy a nice fresh-smelling dress. But even detergent has taken a cut, and a packet gives 5 washes less. And speaking of dresses, my goodness, they're being imported, you see. They must be so slim, for an overseas large would certainly never fit me. Then to cap it all off, there's the loo roll. you get much fewer squares for your buck. We all have to go, and it's bound to run out, and then sadly you're right out of luck. Now through eating so many more biscuits and a big chocolate intake, you see, it seems that though most things get smaller, there's one thing that doesn't. It's me. Let's All Drink to Lockdown by Jan Beaumont. I'm normally a social girl. I love to meet my mates, but lately with the virus here, we can't go out the gates. You see, we are the oldies now. We need to stay inside. If they haven't seen us for a while, they'll think we've upped and died. They'll never know the things we did before we got this old. There wasn't any Facebook, so not everything was told. We may seem sweet old ladies who would never be uncouth, but we grew up in the 60s, if you only knew the truth. There was sex and drugs and rock and roll, the pill and mini skirts. We smoked, we drank, we partied, and were quite outrageous flirts. Then we settled down, got married, and turned into someone's mum. Somebody's wife, then Nana. Who on earth did we become? We didn't mind the change of pace because our lives were full, but to bury us before we're dead is like red rag to a bull. So here you find me stuck inside for 4 weeks, maybe more. I finally found myself again, then I had to close the door. It didn't really bother me. I'd while away the hour. I'd bake for all the family, but I've got no bloody flour. Now Netflix is just wonderful. I like a gutsy thriller. I'm swooning over Idris or some random sexy killer. At least I've got a stash of booze for when I'm being idle. There's wine and whiskey, even gin, if I'm feeling suicidal. So let's all drink to lockdown, to recovery and health, and hope this bloody virus doesn't decimate our wealth. We'll all get through the crisis and be back to join our mates, just hoping I'm not far too wide to fit through the flaming gates. The Hands of Time. I look into the mirror and I'm not sure who I see. The image is familiar, but I'm certain that's not me. It doesn't match the way I feel. I'm looking tired and drawn. But I'm no longer young, and so I guess a little worn. When you reach a certain age, it all starts going south. There's hair where there was none before. You've lines around your mouth. The furrows between your eyebrows just seem deeper every day. And speaking of the eyebrows, well, they now have turned grey. I think I need some Botox. It will freshen me, I hear. I may have frozen features, but my forehead will be clear. A nip, a tuck, a subtle lift will help restore my youth. But miracles don't happen, and sadly that's the truth. We can't turn back the clock, and what's important is inside. An older face is beautiful, a shame to try and hide. Then I realise what I'm seeing is a pleasant, lived-in face. So I'll just accept that this is me and learn to age with grace.
Sight for White newsletter, Autumn 2023. Your local sight loss charity. Spotlight on Maggie. Meet volunteer Lynn. Meet our trustees. NHS Transport. Dress for Less. Free water butt. Plus much more. Millbrook House, 137 Carriagebrook Road, Newport, PO30 1DD. Charity number 1149415. Company number 6240404. And the front cover shows Maggie about to throw an axe.
Hello and welcome to our autumn newsletter. I think, as always, you will find it full of interest and support. I was pleased to hear that our bees are now settled in their new home with a new queen. We are going ahead with plans to resurface the drive now that the space has been cleared. Dress for Less is proving very popular, And Debbie, Tracy, and our lovely shop volunteers keep it looking immaculate. If you can, look us up on Facebook. New additions to the clothing range are advertised here. I hope all our story writers are ready with ideas for this year's competition. All the information you need is on our poster. I'm always so impressed by the imagination and high standard of all our entrants. I think that the articles on patient transport, the priority service register, and the Be My Eyes update are so very helpful. If you want to test your island knowledge, head for Terry's quiz. Thank you, Terry, for composing these. I always learn something new. The IT drop-in is now by appointment. Just call us at Millbrook House to book your time. All our usual updates on Sight for White and White Sense can be found in the newsletter. Even how to apply to get a free water butt. My thanks, as always, to our staff. You make Millbrook House such a welcoming place for us all. To all our volunteers in whatever role you support us, my grateful thanks. Where would we be without you?
This is Lisa reading the CEO update. Welcome to our autumn newsletter. We have added a new section which we hope will be well received. We have added member questions. For example, we were asked about patient transport for hospital appointments, so we have added an article with all of the information that we have found. Further, we were asked about trusted tradespeople and whether NHS prescriptions are automatically free of charge if you are registered blind. These member questions are in addition to our usual staff updates, tips for members, and an article on priority registers, which I recently enlisted on myself. We will be holding the charity's AGM on November the 17th with a lunch at the Isle of Wight College, to which everyone is invited. We will be doing a short presentation on what we have done in the year to the 31st of March 2023 and how the plans we made for 2024 are going. Tickets are £11.50 for a 3-course lunch. We will be arranging transport. Although not officially a Christmas meal, we will be wishing everybody a happy Christmas with a chance to meet the new trustees too. Numbers are limited to 60, so please contact Susan. I would also like to confirm the dates for the next feedback and catch-up meetings. These meetings are a chance for anyone to come to us and tell us what you thought of the interaction with us and tell us how you think we can improve and what we can add to our activities and services. The White Sense client meeting is Wednesday the 29th of November at 11:30am. The Sight for White members meeting is Wednesday the 6th of December at 11:30am. Finally, don't forget the short story writing competition closing date is Friday the 3rd of November at 5pm.
Members' activities. Weekly, by appointment, we have Sam on hand to give one-to-one help with accessibility features on your computer, laptop, tablet or phone. It is essential you pre-book, so please call ahead. Please note, we will help as much as we can, but if you are looking for lessons on how to use a computer, then please contact us for Age UK course dates.
Monday. Swimming at Medina Leisure Centre, Newport, term time only, between 1:15pm and 2:15pm. The cost is £6 and £2.50 local transport, Newport area, but £3.50 for wider transport, i.e. Ryde area.
Tuesday, yoga at Millbrook House between 1:45pm and 2:45pm. Come along and try gentle exercise. Just £4, which includes refreshments.
Wednesday. Coffee and chat at Millbrook House between 10am and 11:30am. All are welcome to join us for coffee and cake. The cost is £2 and the group is open to everyone. We have regular visitors to this group, for example the ECLO, the Macular Society and many others, so please call Susan for more information.
Thursday, mix and mingle at Millbrook House between 10:30am and 2pm. Planned activities include craft, quizzes and entertainment. The cost is £4 plus £3.50 for transport if required. Pre-booking is essential.
The next Sight for White members feedback and chat is Wednesday the 6th of December at 11:30am. For anyone who has used the White Sense service, the next feedback session is Wednesday the 29th of November, again at 11:30am.
100 Club. Winners this time are Sue, Chris and Denise. Congratulations. A very warm welcome to Peter, Jill, Denise and Caroline. If you would like to join the Sight for White 100 Club, it is just £2 a month and you are helping to support us too.
Fortnightly tennis is held at Ryde Mead Tennis Club on Mondays between 9:30am and 10:30am. The club is behind Yalf's in Church Lane, Ryde. Volunteers of the club are on hand to assist. This is weather dependent through the winter.
Monthly groups. First Tuesday of the month. God's Hill Coffee Morning, 10:30am to 12pm. Held at the Old Smithy Coffee Shop, God's Hill. Volunteers Yvonne and Linda will be on hand to chat every month.
First Thursday of the month, the audio book group held at the Lord Louis Library, Newport, between 2pm and 3pm. This group is free to attend. You will receive a USB stick or CD from the RNIB, and then the group will discuss the book at the following meeting.
Second Tuesday of the month. Our Place Community Cafe at West White Sports Centre, Mower Place, Freshwater. 10:30am. A member of staff will always be there.
Fourth Wednesday of the month, Ion Social held at Millbrook House between 2pm and 3:30pm. Invited guest speakers will be giving talks on a variety of topics. The group is open to everyone, members, volunteers and friends, so please come along. The cost is £3, which includes refreshments. The next meeting is Wednesday the 25th of October.
Fourth Thursday of the month. Our Place in Ventnor at St Catherine's Church, Ventnor, between 10:30am and 1:30pm. A member of staff will be on hand.
Last Friday of the month, Striders is for members who enjoy walking. There are two groups, first 3 to 4 miles and the second around 6 miles. The cost is £4 plus £3.50 for transport.
Last Sunday of the month. Golf at Westridge Golf Centre, Ryde. Members enjoy 45 minutes on the driving range with an instructor available to help the complete novice to those playing regularly. It is usually the last Sunday of the month, but always call the office to confirm.
Activities do get booked up, so please do not hesitate to call us to book your place. Where possible, we provide transport, subject to numbers and vehicle availability. If you have any suggestions for an activity, please do come forward and let us know, so we can endeavour to accommodate when we can. Or, if you wish to volunteer to help others, again, do not hesitate to contact us on 522205. Susan.
Free water butts. The Footprint Trust is an energy advice charity that has been running for 20 years. Their mission is to reduce the ecological impact of the Isle of Wight. They are now offering a free water butt installed to anyone on the island who wants one while stocks last. With Connect for Communities and W. Hurst & Son, they are really excited about their new project. They will be helping people save water and money by installing a water butt in their garden or allotment. By doing this, people can save up to 200 litres of water, which in turn helps them use less tap water and save money on their water bill. Not only will clients be receiving a lovely new water butt kit, they will also get a handy grow-it-yourself starter set with seeds, compost and trays too. If you would like a water butt, please contact the Footprint Trust for more information. Email info@footprinttrust.co.uk. www.milbrookhouse.co.uk or phone 01983 822282.
Members' questions read by Paula. We are often asked questions by members which we, of course, research and answer. These often form the basis for articles in this newsletter. This quarter, we have been asked about trusted traders, NHS prescriptions and patient transport. So here are the answers. Approved traders. Isle of Wight Approved Trader Scheme. We have been asked for recommendations for local tradespeople. Here on the island, who can be trusted? Whilst we do have a few people we use here at Millbrook House, they are not usually available at short notice. So we thought the best way to offer help with this was to point people to some approved traders. The Isle of Wight Council operate a trader-approved scheme where each local business has given their commitment to trading fairly. Every business listed has undergone a detailed background check before being approved as a member of the scheme by the Isle of Wight Council. Here is the direct link: iwc.iow.gov.uk/TAS. Secondly, Checkatrade is also a national version of the same sort of scheme, with every tradesperson having passed up to 12 rigorous checks. There are over 6 million posted reviews from verified customers to browse when looking for a tradesperson. They do offer a basic guarantee on work done, but it is subject to many terms and conditions. Their site is www.checkatrade.com. If you need any help using these sites, please call the office and Karen can help you.
Member questions. Free NHS prescriptions. Some people can obtain free NHS prescriptions on medical grounds or if they are living on a low income. So we were asked, does being blind entitle you to a free prescriptions? The short answer is no. Being registered as severely sight impaired, blind, or sight impaired, partially sighted, does not automatically entitle you to free prescriptions. The scheme states you can obtain medical exemption and therefore obtain free prescriptions if you are under 16 or 16 to 18 in full-time education, you are aged 60 or over, are pregnant and have a valid maternity exemption certificate, hold a valid medical exemption certificate, hold a valid war pension exemption certificate, are an NHS inpatient, have a continuing physical disability that prevents you from going out without help from another person, and have a valid medical exemption certificate. It is the last of these criteria that may apply if you are living with other conditions too. Please consult your GP. You may be able to get full or partial help through the NHS Low Income Scheme, which helps with not only prescription costs, but also dental costs, eye care costs, healthcare, travel costs, and wigs and fabric support. Please call 0300 330 1343 for further information.
Volunteer update. As always, I would like to welcome all our new wonderful volunteers to this newsletter. We are very fortunate to have so many volunteers who enable us to support our members through activities, services and events, as well as work within our fabulous dress agency shop. Although August is always a shutdown for groups, our volunteers are kept busy with the Talking News, audio library, Dress for Less and our fundraising team, which has been kept busy with Wolverton, Newport Carnival, Isle of Wight Day, Pudding and Quiz, the Open Day and Bucket collections, which I thank all of you for your continuous support in all aspects of the charity. A date for your diary is November the 28th for our volunteer catch-up at Millbrook House between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. This is an opportunity for volunteers to meet with one another and enjoy coffee and cake. As always, if anyone would like to volunteer or knows somebody who has time on their hands, we are always looking for new volunteers, especially in our education programme, Talking News team, Dress for Less shop, striders, swimming assistants, drivers and minibus drivers and escorts. Please do not hesitate to contact me in the office on 52205. Thank you, as always, Susan.
This is Lisa reading Priority Service Registers. The Priority Service Register is a free UK-wide service which provides extra advice and support, including when there's an interruption to your electricity, gas or water supply. The Priority Register, known as PSR, is free to join. It helps utilities companies, including energy suppliers, electricity, gas and water networks, to look after their customers who have extra communication, access or safety needs. It helps them tailor their service to support households who need extra help with everyday energy matters like bills, and also in the unlikely event of a power cut, gas or water service interruption. In order to be added to the register, these are some of the criteria. 1. Are of pensionable age. 2. Are deaf or hard of hearing. 3. Have a disability. 4. Are blind or partially sighted. 5. Use medical equipment. To register, if you live here on the island, please contact each of the providers below. These are the network providers, not your energy suppliers, as you need to register with the network supplier. Gas 0800 975 1818. That is gas 0800 975 1818. Water 0330 303 0277. That is water 0330 303 0277. And electricity 0800 316 5457. That is electricity 0800 316 5457. Further, your individual energy suppliers can also help. For example, provide a backup battery for your phone in case of loss of power. To find out what your own suppliers offers, just call the person you pay your bill to.
Befriending. What is befriending? In order to tackle loneliness and isolation, Sight for Wight runs a befriending service where trained volunteers call isolated visually impaired people and spend some time chatting with them on the telephone and to hear their stories. Befriending calls are tremendously helpful in battling the problem of loneliness and isolation because they show people that others care about them and that they have somebody they can talk to. Befrienders also serve as a link to a wider network of support available for vulnerable people and can ring the alarm bells if, for example, a person experiences any undue harm. For people without family members close by, this support can be invaluable. Who do we support? We support people who are visually impaired, who live alone and are lonely and or isolated and are looking for companionship. After every referral, our well-trained befriending manager speaks to each potential client to assess whether they would really benefit from befriending. We never leave anyone hanging. If somebody is deemed not suitable, we try to find other more suitable options for them in discussion with the referring agency. A close relationship is created with the volunteering team to build confidence, to create connections and support. Elaine, Befriending Manager.
Karen Chessel. Access to information. A person is regarded as deaf-blind if their combined sight and hearing impairment cause difficulties with communication, access to information and mobility. In the last newsletter I talked about communication, so this time I will talk about access to information. Equipment can help a deaf-blind person to access information. If you meet the criteria, the type of equipment that is available for long-term loan from WaitSense are TV listeners, so that the TV for news programmes, for example, can be heard without making it too loud for others. We also issue daylight lamps and daylight bulbs. This can help a person with reading post, paperwork and books. Although WaitSense do not issue magnifying equipment, we are able to refer to the low vision aid service at the hospital. Sight for White usually have screen readers available to demonstrate and always have Alexas available for free loan. The Sight for White skill can be accessed from these devices with our weekly Talking News, newsletter in audio form and SCAMS advice. Karen Chessel, Deafblind Support Officer.
Hi, my name is Lynn Patey and I've been a volunteer at Sight for White for around 4 years. I'm a keen walker, although age and COVID lockdowns have made the distance I walk a bit less nowadays. I saw an advert in the county press asking for volunteers to walk with the Striders group. I found out that this group walked in the countryside for about 5 to 8 miles and then had lunch in a pub at the end of the walk. I replied to the advert and received a very long list of other things I might like to get involved in. I chose to read the county press at Millbrook House around once a month. I was interviewed, had all my safety checks, and there I was, a volunteer. I had no previous experience of people with a visual impairment. I think I was one of those people who thought if you were blind, you just couldn't see anything. However, I do love to be with people and dogs, so meeting up with the group for the first time was quite exciting. I remember thinking that I could tell these people that I was a young, good-looking blonde. But Eric, a member, put me right by explaining that some of the group had partial sight, and so would soon let people know otherwise. Reading the county press is a more sedate job, although I did have to give up on the last occasion because I couldn't stop coughing. We do have to watch for errors in the print, though. I remember I was reading something about gardeners being naturalists, but I read it out as gardeners being naturists. Volunteers get text from Millbrook House frequently, and if it is something I can do, I will try to help. I have a lot of interests, so I don't like being tied down to something every week. I have a largish garden, which I love, a long-suffering husband, Steve. We look after dogs while their owners are on holiday, and we have a very old camper van in which we like to get away and sit in a field now and then. One thing I like to do is to bake cakes. If I baked a lot at home, we would only eat it all, which would not be good. So if there are times when they need people to knock up a few cakes for an event at Sight for White, I love to do it. So far, they've not sent any back. I always call my husband an unseen, unsung volunteer, as he usually washes up for me. I love the variety of things that you can help out with at Sight for White, helping at shows such as Wolverton, walking in Newport Carnival, such fun, and this week bringing a team to the pudding quiz, plus making a pudding. Thank you, Sight for White, for having me as a volunteer. I love it and wish I had more time to give.
Spotlight on Maggie. Hello, dear reader. My name is Maggie, and I've been asked to write a few lines for the newsletter, so here goes. I have been a member of the Society since the early 90s, when I was first registered as being partially sighted. I am one of 3 daughters, and we all have retinitis pigmentosus, RP, inherited from our mum. Once the Society and I were connected, I met Nigel, who taught me cane training and introduced me to the swimming club, where I met Don and Mark, amongst others. At that time, the Society was based at the Polars, and I also was invited to the Wednesday evening group, which was held there. I started working in 1973 in a small office as a ledger clerk, which was located at the back of a large store that sold furniture, bedding, clothes and underwear. It was a real-life "are you being served?" shop. We had an overall manager, office manager and a shop manager. Staff in the shop stood behind glass-topped counters, and the manageress would call on them to serve by saying, "Are you free, Mrs. Bradley?" We even had a cleaner called Mrs. Grimes. A few years later, I started working at H&M Taxis as a clerk, which was more money, and I was shortly to be married. We managed to save a deposit on a small 2-up, 2-down end of terrace property in East Cowes, and so began my married life. We had 3 children and moved several times. I changed jobs and ended up working in a post office. By this time my eyesight was impairing my work, and so I decided it was time to leave. My life dramatically changed, and through a series of unforeseen circumstances, I started a new life. One day, as I was sitting at home wondering what to do, the phone rang, and a lady called Lorraine from the RNIB asked me if I would be interested in learning something new. As she explained that the course was at the Royal College for the Blind in Herefordshire, and I would have to live in. I asked if they accepted students of a more mature age. "Of course," she replied, "and I'll put you down for a massage, okay?" Adding, "We need to be quick as the deadline is next week." So I went and stayed at college in my late 50s. It was fun, but I learned a lot about myself and the suffering others go through. It really opened my eyes, so to speak. I now work with my sister Annie for a charity called the Wessex Cancer Trust, where we are both therapists for people living with cancer and support their families too. I have now met the lovely Susan and Jasmine, who very kindly looked after me when visiting the Grange with some of you guys. Fantastic time was had by all. Sending you all a lovely day and hopefully a smile or two. By Maggie Davis.
Out and about, Isle of Wight Day. Lisa and the trustees went along to the Isle of Wight Day at Brading Roman Villa, with just under 2,000 people attending. This family at Community Day hosted 40 charities there to both raise awareness of what they do and to raise funds. They set up the stand with goal ball, hooker duck and tin can alley. All children wore blindfolds, which they really enjoyed, and were very responsive at using their other senses.
Wolverton Manor Show. We also attended the Wolverton Manor Show, an iconic island family show hosted at Wolverton Manor. A huge thank you to the volunteers who attended. These shows really bring both fundraising and awareness to Sight for Wight and are so important.
Newport Illuminated Carnival. It was fun decorating the minibus for the Newport Illuminated Carnival this year. Thank you to Morris, Lynn, Gabby and Alan who drove the minibus around and walking in front of it. The pride in our volunteers is humbling as they all tell each and every person what they do and the pleasure they get from it.
Open Studios Weekend. Open Studios is an island-wide annual event for local artists to showcase their work. For the past 6 years, Linda Wright, one of our trustees, has been providing refreshments for the event at Gurnard Village Hall. This year she invited Susan and her team of willing volunteers to make and serve cakes. Not only did we raise funds for our charity, but we also raised awareness of what we do and provided a social facility for visitors to the exhibition.
Supporting us. This quilt was started by Linda, a member of a small quilting group. Sadly, she passed away before she could finish the quilt. Sue, Mo and Heather, the 3 remaining members, put it together and hand quilted it. Linda would have been pleased that the quilt was being raffled to make money for a very worthwhile cause. Please call 522205 or pop into Millbrook House if you'd like to purchase a square. It's £2 per square. The size of the quilt is 68 inches by 79 inches, which is a king size. The raffle will be drawn on Wednesday, the 13th of December.
Christmas raffle. I know it seems very wrong using the Christmas word, but enclosed with your newsletter are your raffle tickets if you wish to purchase them. They are priced at £1 each, and you can buy them by calling the office to make a card payment, sending us a cheque, or by using our bank details, which are included in the covering letter. When we are collecting our raffle prizes from local island companies, it is so inspiring how well known we are, and that people are so willing to donate prizes to us. Prizes include our luxury hamper, round of golf for 4, restaurant vouchers, plus many more.
Member support. In my last article, I talked about getting out and about, so this time I wanted to talk about the different types of canes. Did you know canes with red and white depicts both sight and hearing loss? A symbol cane can help alert other people to your sight and or hearing loss and can be folded for easy storage. Symbol canes cannot be used as a walking stick or support aid or to detect obstacles on the ground. Guide canes. Hold a guide cane diagonally across your body and use it to find obstacles in front of you, such as curbs or steps. Long canes. Long canes are rolled or tapped from side to side as you walk to find your way and avoid obstacles. Different tips can be used for different walking terrains. Specialist training is required to use a long or guide cane. Peter, our White Sense rehabilitation officer, is able to do this, giving you as much or as little training as you need. He is also able to help with confident trips, using buses and trains on the island, and show you other tricks like using a low vision monocular, small telescope, to aid seeing bus signs and numbers. We also promote wearing a sunflower lanyard called Hidden Disabilities. They act as a discreet sign to others that the wearer has an invisible disability and may require additional assistance. As always, just let me know if you need further information on any of the above or any other assistance. Karen. Picture of different types of long canes and picture of a sunflower lanyard.
Feedback and catch-up, read by Chris. Each quarter, we hold our Sight for White and White Sense feedback and catch-up groups here at Millbrook House. These are designed as the chance for anyone who uses any of our services to come in and tell us how they feel about the services they have received. Secondly, and equally importantly, they are a catch-up session where we can feedback what is happening with all our services and activities. These meetings are absolutely vital to us. We are only here to help people, so if we are not succeeding at it, or if there are more ways we can help, please tell us. We know some people are more shy at coming forward, so if you want to send in a question or thought anonymously, no problem. Call without giving a name, email it, or post it. We can print the answer here in the newsletter. Sight for White next meeting, 6th of December, 11:30 a.m. This included a question about one-to-one IT help. Lisa confirmed we had taken delivery of a number of laptops from the Isle of Wight Council, which we are setting up with accessibility features enabled, and they would then be available for any member to have on loan to help them get online. Sam, our IT expert, can offer one-to-one to anyone who needs it. White Sense next meeting, 29th of November, 11:30 a.m. This included a discussion on resurrecting the Rainbow Club, a coffee morning that met around the island once a month for those living with deaf-blindness. It was decided that we would start this again, but widen the reach to include anyone living with hearing loss as well as people living with both sense losses. We will be contacting anyone registered with us and inviting them to come along. Lisa Holyhead.
Tips for members. I struggle to see the buttons on my washing machine when I am doing my washing. My friend suggested I add bump-ons to the buttons I use regularly so I know what to press each time. Sandra from Shanklin. I kept missing the toothbrush when I was trying to squeeze the toothpaste onto it. I found it much easier to squeeze the toothpaste straight into my mouth. Kate from Arrington. If you have any tips to include in our newsletter, please let us know.
Foot Care by Hayley. Hayley has kindly offered our members foot care, including toenail cutting, hard skin removal, callus and corn treatment. Foot cream is then applied with a soothing foot massage. Hayley will be at Millbrook House on a Thursday. If you would like to make a booking, then please call Susan. The cost is £25.
Hello, my name is Sue Bungay, and I was first appointed a trustee director in 2014, and I've been the chair since 2019. I spent the majority of my working life as a teacher in island schools and have served as the school governor as well. I've been a trustee for almost 9 years, and I've certainly valued the chance to help shape, support and contribute my time to the charity. I have met so many interesting new people and have had the opportunity to take on new challenges through my involvement with both Sight for White and White Sense. I look forward to continuing to support the charity's aims, which put the needs of our members at the forefront of everything we do. Our staff and volunteers, including the Board of Trustees, make everything possible. Thank you. Without you, we simply could not help and support as many people as we do on a daily basis.
John Moore. I became to the island over 50 years ago to work in engineering at British Hovercraft Corporation, now GKN. I retired in 2009 and put my time to good use, qualifying as a PCV driver, enabling me to drive the island community buses and volunteering with the local police authority. In 2014, I became a volunteer for Sight for White. My clear commitment led me to being invited to become a trustee in 2016. I have worked tirelessly for the charity. I have become their own resident handyman, driver, escort, fundraiser. I am always on hand whenever the charity asks. I said, having now had surgery on both retinas, it has made me even more aware of the difficulties faced by our members and the assistance the Society offers visually impaired island residents.
Laura Gouljar. 2017 saw Laura join the Board of Trustees with first-hand experience of total sight loss. In 2009, an undiagnosed vitamin deficiency caused Laura to suffer a complete loss of sight in a matter of hours. 2023 saw a huge milestone in her recovery as she has been reissued with her driving licence, albeit on a restricted basis. Laura said, "It has been a privilege to serve as a trustee and to be a part of the many changes which have taken place since I began. With Lisa at the helm, I am truly excited about the direction we are taking as we have clear mission statements with our members, volunteers and sight loss community at the heart of it. I am particularly proud of the work being undertaken to establish a befriending service, as through my role as the Eye Clinic Liaison Officer, also known as an ECLO at St Mary's Hospital, I am told by so many patients how lonely they find themselves at times."
This is Chris Biles, Society Trustee. As an already active member of the charity, I joined the board in 2017 in my first governance role. I bring a breadth of lived experience living with complete sight loss most of my adult life. Some of the issues covered had a complexity that was highly instructive for a relative beginner in the field of charity governance. There have been and continue to be occasions when, as a service user, I am able to carry informed views into our discussions, as well as benefit from being an ongoing participant in a variety of social and recreational activities which the Society organises or facilitates.
Ruth Hollingshead.
Ruth first came to the charity over 30 years ago as a service user, having completed her honours degree in social policy and criminology. She soon began volunteering every week on our reception desk. As our longest serving trustee appointed in 2012, this year Ruth was deservedly recognised as a Coronation Champion. Ruth said, "I hope that I can continue to use my own experience of living with sight loss and as a guide dog user to help support other island residents for many more years to come."
Linda Wright. Bringing with her a breadth of charity governance and volunteering experience, Linda was appointed in 2022. Linda has worked within business management, finance and audit, a great addition to the board's skill base. Linda said, "I was delighted to be invited to join the board of this, the island's oldest charity. I am passionate about volunteering for an organisation that supports local people and feel that my skills and experience will enable me to make a difference."
Tony Spalding. Appointed in 2022, Tony has spent his career in marketing, public relations, bringing a clear track record of promoting and publicising relevant messages to the right audience. With previous charity board experience having served as a chair, Tony said, "As a board, we raise awareness of the importance of looking after the health of your eyes and for our members, ensuring they have the right support at the right time, including medical resources, benefits advice and, equally importantly, social opportunities providing support and fellowship." Bridget, Saritha and Alison are our 3 new trustees whose official appointments will be put forward at our AGM in November. Bridget and Alison have already completed their first fundraising and awareness event at the Isle of Wight Day, playing goalball, selling items and helping children hook some ducks.
Bridget Preston. Bridget, a former island physical education teacher, has led a full and active life. Married to husband Dave for 51 years, she enjoys singing with a choir, fundraises solely for local charities by taking weekly yoga sessions and volunteers to help the Isle of Wight Prostate Cancer Support Group. Bridget said, "I look forward to my new role as a trustee and volunteering to take part in some new activities with its members."
Alison Holbrook. Alison is already very well known here, as she has been volunteering since 2019 for both the Talking News and with Jasmine in our education programme. A former special educational needs teacher, Alison said, "Visiting the schools helps children to understand how precious their sight is. Making more people aware of the support they can find for their loved ones experiencing sight or hearing loss through Sight for Wight or signposted services is crucial."
Saritha Nodia. Saritha's passion for the art of education on how the brain functions was the basis for a recent master's degree. Saritha said, "It is my goal to bring out the best in everyone, to be empowered to achieve their goal. My mother had glaucoma and macular degeneration, which I supported her through, and I have lived through a retina detachment surgery from which my macula did not open completely. These experiences have given me some insight and empathy for the charity and those we aim to support."
Calendars and diaries available to order from the office. Large print pocket diary, which is A6, 4 inches by 5.8 inches, £6.50. A large print midi diary, which is A5 size, which is 5.8 inches by 8.3 inches, which is £8.50. A large print desk diary, A4 size, which is 8.3 inches by 11.7 inches for £10.50. And we also have the A3 portrait and landscape calendars, which is 16.5 inches by 11.7 inches. That price is £8. The last date, the 17th of November, to ensure December delivery.
NHS Patient Transport, read by Paula. The Patient Transport Service provides transport 7 days a week for service users in cases of medical need for outpatients appointments, admissions, discharge and transfer. It is a non-urgent service and there are strict eligibility criteria based on medical, not social or financial need, and only the patient can travel in it unless they are under 16 or they need specialist care. You must meet one of the following criteria. Your condition and or mobility requires the presence of a qualified patient transport person to care for you. You need to travel as a stretcher patient due to specific medical and or mobility needs. You have a medical condition that would compromise your dignity if public or private transport were used. You require specialist moving and handling support. Inter-hospital transfers, i.e. journeys to specialist units within Southampton and Portsmouth and possibly further afield. And you also need to have a reason for attendance, such as attending an outpatient's clinic for tests or treatment, being admitted to or being discharged from hospital, or attending a booked daycare or treatment centre. Your first appointment will be authorised by your GP and any future trips will be authorised by the consultant treating you. Please note, if you receive DLA or PIP mobility component, you will not be entitled access to this on mobility grounds alone.
If you are not eligible for this, other transport options exist under the Assisted Hospital to Hospital scheme. The Hospital Car Service, run by volunteer drivers using ordinary cars who can collect patients for appointments if they are not able to drive themselves or use public transport. Car service drivers have no medical training and carry no special equipment. There is a charge for this service of between £6 and £14, dependent upon the distance across the island, and this can increase if mainland travel is required. Payment is always made to the driver at the time of travel. Call 01983 822 099, extension 5443, office hours only. There is also a Community Council voluntary transport service available locally that may be of help. For more information, phone 01983 524 058. Reclaiming travel costs. If the patient receives one of the qualifying benefits, they may be able to receive assistance from social funds through the Job Centre Plus office. Patients should claim on the day of appointment by bringing proof of eligibility to their hospital appointment, completing a fares reimbursement claim form, asking the department they attend to stamp and sign the form. Payment claim forms, which are duly filled, will be processed by cashiers at St Mary's Hospital main entrance.
For those who need to travel to the mainland, the following is a summary of what each ferry operator offers, and for those living with cancer, the Daisy bus service. For all travel, you must pre-book the discounted NHS ticket. Claims cannot be retrospective. You must travel on the day of the appointment and bring written proof of the appointment. Red Funnel Red Jet. A special return passenger ferry fare of £11.80 per person is available for the patient and a companion. Where the patient is a child, the discounted fare is available for up to 2 adults travelling with the child. Please note the fare applies after 8:45 a.m, although exceptions may be made for earlier appointments. Book at the ticket office to get the discount. Red Funnel by car. If you need to travel to hospital appointments with your car, please submit your request using the online form. Red Funnel offer various discounts, including, for example, those attending a cancer appointment can travel with the car for the same £11.80. Whitelink, all ferries. You can get 50% off your ferry crossing with Whitelink. This NHS discount is available for the patient plus one other traveller, or if the patient is a child, 2 parents are permitted to travel alongside. The offer does not apply to appointments with GPs, dentists, pharmacists, or opticians. To book, call in advance on 0333 999 7333, quoting the Whitelink healthcare discount. The 50% discount apply to standard and economy vehicle fares and standard foot passenger fares.
Hover Travel. A special return passenger ferry fare of £12.50 per person is available for the patient and a companion. This can be day or period return. Fares can be booked online and you must, like all ferry providers, bring proof of the appointment with you. Daisy Bus from Southampton and Southsea. Primarily for cancer patients, they run 2 minibuses to Queen Alexandra and Southampton General Hospitals. Southsea. Hover Travel donate 10% of every NHS Hover Travel ticket sold to support the Daisy Bus, so please ask for this ticket when purchasing your ticket. Southsea. Pick up 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 13:30. QA. Pick up 11, 12, 1300, 1400. Minibus Mobile 07990 001 072. Southampton Town Quay. Timetable may vary. Town Quay. Pick up 9, 10:20, 11:30, 13:50, 1500 and 16:10. Southampton General. Pick up 9:30, 10:45, 12, 14:20, 15:20 and 15:40. Minibus Mobile 07747 776 874. Lisa Holyhead.
Hello everyone, my name is Tracy and I would like to introduce myself as the newest member of the Dress for Less team. My husband and I have been living on the island coming up for 3 years now. We moved from Basingstoke to help support my father. It has taken us a while to settle, but now we call it home. We have 2 children and 5 grandchildren who all love visiting and spending time on this lovely island. I've worked for many years in retail and have always had a passion for helping people. I love to chat and meet new people, so when the opportunity to join Dress for Less came up, I was thrilled. I must say, from first speaking with Debbie and then meeting Lisa, Ruth and Sue, I knew it would be perfect for me. I've enjoyed every minute. The team of volunteers are all fabulous and selfless in giving their time to the charity and have all been so welcoming. Dress for Less is truly unique, and now that we are in new premises, it really is a special place to work. I would like to thank Sight for White for letting me be part of it. For me, it really is the icing on the cake. I'm looking forward to the rest of the year and hopefully meeting more of the Sight for White team and helping our lovely customers and raising lots of funds for Sight for White. Hope to see you all soon.
This is Lisa reading the White Sense article. White Sense is the rehabilitation service offered to all Isle of Wight residents living with a sense loss that affects their daily living. Anyone can be referred to the service either by themselves or through any other person involved in their lives. A simple phone call starts the process, no complicated forms and certainly no expectations. One of our team of assessors will make contact and start a conversation on how we can help. The White Sense team is made up of Karen, that's Karen with a C, our vision specialist. Karen, like all of our assessors, will visit you at home. You can then have a chat about what it is you want to do and are now finding more difficult. She will visit you at a time that works for you and stay as long as you need her to. Karen, that's Karen with a K, our deaf-blind specialist. Once you have had your first visit, you will agree your goals with your assessor and we can discuss what free loan equipment we can offer to start to help achieving those goals. Paula, our hearing specialist. We will then follow up with further visits to help you achieve what you want and refer you to any other people to ensure you succeed. This could include Pete, our mobility and daily living skills trainer. He is there to give you the confidence to get out and about as much as you would like to.
2024 Day. From 2024, we will now be holding the event annually. The date for 2024 has been set for September. We will confirm the exact date and venue in our next newsletter, as we are looking at all options in Newport. We will be inviting other local organisations who are here to help you, as an individual, achieve your own goals and wishes, so please look out for the confirmed date and we will see you there. Of course, lots of homemade cakes too.
One Client Story by Paula Matthews, Technical Officer for Hearing Impairment at White Sense. Mrs. T is a lady in her 50s, lives with moderate to severe hearing loss. She got in touch with us to refer herself after being told about the service by a member of staff at Audiology. An appointment was made to go and see her at home to discuss her hearing needs in detail. Mrs. T said she struggles to hear on the telephone, is concerned about leaving her front door unlocked and being able to enjoy the TV with her family. A full assessment was undertaken in the form of a conversation with Mrs. T, and she became quite emotional because she hadn't realised the level of support that was available to her. Following the assessment, I checked Mrs. T's phone to make sure that it was turned up to full volume, which unfortunately it wasn't. So I adjusted it for her, and although she could hear a bit better, it still wasn't good enough for her to have a conversation. We discussed the possibility of a new phone which needed to be cordless. I gave her some options and suggested she might like to try the BT 4600 model because the feedback I've had from people who have bought it is very favourable. I explained that it has a hands-free function which can increase the volume for her should she need it. We talked about anxiety and how it escalates due to her hearing loss. She said that she gets very worried about leaving her front door unlocked because anyone can walk in, and she wouldn't know. I demonstrated a loud flashing doorbell to her. We discussed the TV and she said that she feels very antisocial because of the volume she needs to have it at. She said she would love to be able to hear the TV and enjoy watching with her family again. She said she is aware that her poor hearing is impacting her family life, especially the TV. She would like very much to try and minimise this impact as much as she can. I demonstrated some TV listening equipment and Mrs. T was so impressed by the difference it made. She could hear the TV perfectly at a volume that she needs without having to turn the TV up. The doorbell and TV listening system were issued on a long-term loan basis, and Mrs. T was made aware that should she have any further difficulties as far as her hearing is concerned, she can get back in touch with us and someone would go and see her again. Mrs. T was extremely grateful for the service that she had received and will come back to us in the future if we can be of help.
Open Day, read by Chris. We want to thank everyone who contributed to our Open Day. This time, we tried to create a much more community feel, and certainly, judging on how much cake we went through, we achieved this. We had a wide variety of other organisations attend, offering people the chance to speak to them directly under one roof. I am delighted to say that 69% of people who walked through the door were completely new to Sight for White, which is exactly what we are trying to achieve. We also wanted to ensure as many people as possible know of what we and other organisations do here on the island. As everybody left, I asked how they had found the day and was delighted to receive such comments as, "I never knew there was a Blind Veterans Association here on the island. They were so engaging. I will definitely be in touch with them. I can barely carry my bag full of goodies. Talking kitchen equipment is so expensive. Buying second-hand from you saves me money and stops these items being thrown out. Thank you. I'm so glad I came." The digital magnifier that reads out the text to me but fits in my handbag too. Hasn't technology moved on? I'll get my grandson to show me how to work it, as I'll probably forget before I get home. I love it when my grandchildren come round.
Millbrook House. Whilst our Open Day is an important day, we are always here at Millbrook House to assist you and give help and support when you need it. We have in stock for both trial and demonstration equipment. The best day to pop in is Wednesday mornings when Karen is on hand to help us as we hold our coffee morning from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. so you can pop in and say hello.
Christmas closure. Please note that Millbrook House will be closing for the Christmas holiday period from 12 o'clock on Friday the 15th of December and reopening on Tuesday the 2nd of January 2024 at 9 a.m.
Bee update. Our very kind bee experts have given us an update on the progress of the bees since they were rehomed from Millbrook House. They now have a new queen from the cells put in from another hive. It's quite difficult for this to happen so late on in the summer, but they are such happy, calm bees now, and our bee experts weren't attacked once by our guard bee as they were very aggressive during the move. But since receiving cells from a calm hive, this will produce calm bees in the spring. They are making a very red honey, so it's unknown what they have been foraging on, but this is being left for them for the winter to eat. They will be fed from December onwards and get them through to spring. Our bee expert said they were feral bees, and I had never known such cross bees, but by having a gentle queen from our bees, it's changed them. When we first had them, several guard bees followed me over half a mile up the country lane to attack, and I could not shake them off and could not take off my bee suit.
Sight for White Short Story Writing Competition Awards Ceremony 2023. Winners announced. 7 p.m, Friday the 8th of December, Riverside Centre, Newport. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Entertainment from Huxley Magician and Ben Stubbs. It's fun. It's festive. It's free. Sightforwhite.org.uk is our web address. or you can call 01983 522 05. And there's a picture of Huxley Magician and Ben Stubbs.
Mortal Kombat Game Review. My name is Aaron Danvers Dukes and I am a totally blind person. I come here to inform you that I have learnt about some video games with accessibility. There are 2 games coming up in very rapid succession and I am reviewing one this quarter. Mortal Kombat. Release September 19th for Standard Edition, September 14th for Premium Edition for Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, PC Stream Store and Nintendo Switch. Developed by NetherRealm Studios. I have first-hand experience as I took part in a public beta test which was available because I pre-ordered the game. I came away very impressed. This game included a screen reader, audio description and audio sliders for various sounds that can help the blind, such as sound which changes depending on the distance of your opponent, which is a ticking sound, and a sound that plays and changes depending on what position of attack you get hit with. High, medium or low hitting attacks all have their own distant tones, which can be enabled in the options via the attack type volume slider. The screen reader worked very well in the beta with a few caveats, which I have reported back on. The audio mix is also extremely customizable. You can set sliders for almost every sound type in the game. This is where you can also turn on your accessibility cues. The full version will contain a story mode with audio described scenes, and the story mode will be playable start to finish by the blind. The Premium Edition will give you some extra characters after the game release, such as Homelander from The Boys or Omni-Man from The Invisible as guest characters.
Well, hello everybody. Here we are again with the latest selection of Terry's 20 teasers. Are you ready? Off we go. The first 5 questions are about autumn. Number 1. Why do most leaves turn brown in autumn? Number 2. Approximately what date is the autumn equinox? Number 3. What is the average November temperature on the Isle of Wight during the daytime? Number 4. What is autumn known as in North America? And number 5. What is firework night or bonfire night commemorating? Right, your first 5 questions there. The next 5 are about music. Number 6. Who released the song Budapest in 2014? Number 7. What musical instrument is sometimes referred to as a licorice stick? Number 8. How many symphonies did Joseph Haydn, the Austrian composer, write? Number 9. Where do the all-female group Little Mix come from? And number 10. Who wrote the music for Guys and Dolls? Okay, the next 5 are, loosely speaking, world knowledge. But don't worry, it's not particularly political, I don't think. Number 11. Is New Zealand time ahead or behind British time? Number 12. Talking of time, when did time become officially standardised across Britain? Number 13. Who's the current POTUS or potus, P-O-T-U-S. Bit tricky, that one, unless of course you happen to know it. Number 14. Which two nations are way ahead of any others in terms of population numbers? And number 15. How much of the surface of the Earth is covered with water? Approximately, anyway. And the last 5 questions are just entitled Potluck. So here we go with question 16. What is a flittermouse? Number 17. What are the 4 main types of bear? And teddy does not count as one of them, I'm afraid. 18. How many railway stations did Ventnor once have? Number 19. What's the name of John Buchan's famous story about Richard Hannay being chased through Scotland? And number 20. How many days are there in total in 2023 and 2024 added together? All right, there's your 20 questions. I wonder how many you got right. And here are the answers. Most leaves turn brown in autumn because there's less sun, and so the chlorophyll breaks down, and the chlorophyll is the sort of greening agent in leaves. Number 2, the autumn equinox is on either 21st, 22nd or 23rd of September. This year it was actually on the 23rd. The average daytime temperature on the Isle of Wight in November is 10 degrees centigrade or Celsius, which is 50 degrees in Fahrenheit. Number 4, what is autumn known as in North America? The fall. And number 5, what is firework night or bonfire night commemorating? The 5th of November 1605, when Guy Fawkes attempted to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Naughty man. Music questions. Number 6. Budapest was recorded in 2014 by George Ezra, and the instrument sometimes known as a licorice stick is the clarinet, because presumably of the look and shape of it. Haydn, Joseph Haydn, the Austrian composer, wrote 106 symphonies. If you said 104, you can have that, because 104 of them have been catalogued in one method, and the other 2 have been sort of not catalogued in the same way, but he did actually write them. Number 9, the all-female group Little Mix comes from London. And the person who wrote the music for Guys and Dolls was a man called Frank Loesser. It's actually spelt Loesser, but that doesn't matter. If you knew it, well done. Then I asked you in world knowledge about New Zealand time being ahead or behind British time. It's ahead. It's actually 11 hours ahead of British time. And time in this country was officially standardised in 1880, on the 2nd of August that year, but don't worry about that particularly. They began to standardise it in about 1847 when George Bradshaw compiled Bradshaw's railway timetable. They had to, otherwise a train could leave somewhere and get somewhere else down the line earlier than it left. So they had to standardise it a bit, but it wasn't official until 1880. The current POTUS, or POTUS, P-O-T-U-S, is actually Joe Biden. POTUS stands for President of the United States. I think it was Donald Trump who loved to use the expression. The two countries who are way, way ahead in terms of their population numbers of any others are China and India. If you got one of them, have half a point if you'd like to. And the proportion of the Earth, the surface of the Earth, which is covered with water, incredibly is over 2/3. If you said 2/3 or nearly 3/4, that's fine. Something in that order. Tremendous amount. A flittermouse is a bat. And going back to classical music for a moment, if you remember, Johann Strauss wrote Die Fledermaus, or Fledermaus, and that was a flittermouse, it was a bat. The four main types of bear are polar, black, grizzly and brown. But if you've got some others and you know they're right, that's fine by me. And if you want to give yourself a quarter point for each one, you're welcome. There were originally 2 stations in Ventnor. You don't have to know the names, but they were actually Ventnor and Ventnor West. I thought it was Ventnor North, but I seem to have been wrong on that. The book which John Buchan wrote, a famous story about Richard Hannay being chased through the Highlands of Scotland, was called The 39 Steps. And the total number of days in 2023 and 2024 put together is 731, because next year is a leap year. So you've got 365 this year and 366 next year. I do hope you enjoyed those. Hope you did well enough to feel good about them. And don't worry if you didn't, it's only fun. And all being well, please do join me again for the next series of Terry's 20 Teasers. Bye for now.
Contact details. Site for White. Telephone 01983 52205. Email inquiries@iwsb.org.uk. Website siteforwhite.org.uk. White Sense. Telephone 01983 240 222. Email info@whitesense.org.uk. Web whitesense.org.uk. Opening hours Monday to Friday 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Dress for Less. Telephone 01983 523 197. Email retail@iwsb.org.uk. Address 57 Pyle Street, Newport, Isle of Wight, PO30 1UL. Newsletter available in the following formats: Alexa, USB, Braille.